What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am infinitely awesome, sir. It's like the X Games around this damn thing. We are here again. Your favorite part of whenever you're watching this on your favorite platform, whatever you're watching it on, it's us. The All Things Super Team. Dun, da, da, da. We need them rings like the Wonder Twins. We could be like the Green Lantern Corps.
Okay, I'm down with that.
Have to recite something. Whatever our mantra is, our chant. I don't know.
Is it super? That's really
there you go. That's it. Is it? Is it? It's like they're the weirdest superheroes ever. Like,
is it super?
Like, oh my god, I'm gonna change my ways and not rob banks anymore.
But if you don't know, this is All Things Super, where every week we take a piece of superpowered movie, TV, even trailers. We watch them, we react to them, we review them, we break them down, and we answer the question, is it super?
Is it super?
Is it?
Is it?
We don't know. We will find out. That is the $1 million question. But if you like that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on any of the major podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to join in on the conversation, just tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments. Leave a comment if you ain't scared, because we'll read it. Might read it on the air.
There you go.
Might read it on the show. Might. I don't know. Might.
We just might. But
there you go.
You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. We ain't not worried about spoilers.
If you're not looking for spoilers, this is not the show, because we're not doing all that. We about to talk about the movie. This channel is good for great conversations about whatever. There's a lot of disses in there.
Yeah.
You know what it is? My jaw's tight and I need a lubricant to loosen it up.
There you go. First appearance of the cup. Mark the timestamp.
This is prescribed. Doctor
prescribed
VIP.
Prescribed what's in the cup.
It's medicated. Just the cup itself.
No, the cup itself. You got a prescription for the cup.
Therapy.
There you go. But like I said, you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. We are diving right into talking about Creed 3. Starring, directed by Michael B. Jordan.
Executive produced too? Did he throw some money in this?
I think he did, maybe.
Because if you did not, that's a missed opportunity. I mean, come on. If you go star in it and direct it, it makes no sense for you to get some money on the back end, which is the executive producing area.
Right.
So executive produced, starring, directing, lighting, grip, audio, soundtrack composing, Michael B. Jordan.
I don't know if he had that much to do with it.
I'm quite sure his hands was dibbling and dabbling on this. I seen in the interview he was talking about his recent breakup with the young lady, Miss Lori Harvey. That's right,
really?
right. I don't follow tabloids like that.
I didn't know that they
so
broke up.
He was saying, yeah, it was big. It hit the internet and it was like caught wildfire because, like, you know, she ran through another one. I think he proposed and she said no, but this is speculation. I don't know. I wasn't there. So in the interview, he was like, after my breakup, you know, people usually get in just a great shape, you know, take some time. He said he was already in great shape. So he was like, what do I do now?
Right.
You make a goddamn movie. That's what you make.
Producer,
there you
not
go.
Executive producer.
Well, you know, executive producers put up big money. Producers put up money.
I mean,
that's less
Ryan
than
Coogler's wife
producer.
was the executive producer.
Of what?
Of Creed 3. Ryan Coogler was a producer. Zinzi Coogler, his wife, was executive producer.
That's what's up. That's what's up. They should have called me. I could have put $5 on it. I had a $5. I got a $5. I could have borrowed another $5 for $10 on it.
Look, we can have All Things Super up in there, producing movies.
What?
All Things Super. Let's go. 2024. Let's get our money right. 2023, 2024. We start producing movies.
Okay, you said it out of your mouth to God's ears.
Put that out into existence. Put it out in the universe.
There it is. Y'all heard it here first. or second, because he said it and then you heard it.
So
So
you heard it
he had
first,
to
but
hear it
they
in his
heard it.
mind.
They heard it second. Well, then it's third then.
Y'all heard it like
I
third.
heard it, then
Yeah.
you heard it. Now they
Right.
hearing it.
Right. Not, yeah.
I don't know. TJ in the other room, so he might hear it too. So
I might be third, and that's okay because he heard it second, right? And that's how it goes, y'all. Y'all can't be upset about
we
that.
don't mean to be pushing y'all down the ladder, but you know, it's just the nature of video. You know, we're recording it now, you watch it later.
Or how you heard it, because if you heard it after somebody who watched the show before you, you're not even in the top five.
Yeah, you gotta get in.
You heard it when you heard it. This is why
you gotta get in on the ground floor. You gotta be the first to know about these things. Hit that bell so you can be notified.
Or just send me $5.
There you go.
Whichever one's easier for you to do.
Crowdfunding our producer credit.
That's how we get producing status. Oh man!
But
how are you, sir?
3.
I didn't ask you that.
I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic. I'm excited about this movie. I'm excited about this movie. This movie touched on topics that I was not aware that it was going to be touching on, and it was incredible.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, what topics did you think it was going to touch on?
I didn't, because you know, there's always the conflict of whatever competition that Donnie is in that's leading him to fight, right? But then on top of that, we deal with the personal conflict that he has to deal with in his life, right? And so we knew that it was his past coming back to bite him, his past coming back to haunt him. Damien was his boy that he ran with when he was younger. Damien got locked up.
This is boy.
Damien got locked up. You know, now we see that Damien's getting out. And so we know that he has a chip on his shoulder. He said that Donnie was living the life that was meant for him. And so going into just watching the trailer, going into the movie, we're like, okay, well, we know that that's the conflict. For whatever reason, we thought that, you know, he got the belt, then all of a sudden, you know, whatever happened between Donnie and Damien, they, you know, start butting heads, and which leads them to fight in the end. But I didn't know that how deep that they were going to go into Donnie's past and the trauma that he suffered from his past, and how much that would affect who the person that he is today. And it makes so much sense because we get into the first Creed, and we see the first time we see Donnie, he's fighting, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, why is this young kid so angry? Like, why is this young man so angry? Why is it like his first instinct is just to fight? And so in Creed 3, we get the understanding as to why. We get the explanation as to why he's so hardened, why he's so hell-bent on making sure that he can protect himself, why he wants that for his daughter. He's like, she needs to know that she needs to be able to protect herself, especially because she's hearing impaired and she's getting picked on, and she
know how to protect herself.
Absolutely.
She clocked up. She clocked up. It was a step tap. It was a jump tap like Ant-Man. Y'all didn't see it. Y'all missed out. Y'all need to go watch the movie, come back and watch us. But if you still here, you know what it is. You know you like us. I like y'all too. You know we like.
But
y'all.
Going into that, because let me just say that Donnie and Bianca's relationship from Creed 1 to Creed 3 is probably one of my most favorite on-screen relationships between any couple, because they just seem real. Right?
Yeah, man.
Everything's not perfect. Everything's not lovey-dovey. We see that they have, you know, arguments. We see that they have disagreements. And we've seen that in all of the movies. You know, there's this point in time where, because of Donnie's upbringing, because of the way that he carries himself, he withdraws from his family anytime he gets himself to a situation where he feel like, I got to punch my way out. Excuse me, but instead of relying on his support system, which is his wife and now his daughter, he wants to recoil and try to figure it all out himself, which we as men, and especially we as black men, there's this, here we go, we're about to get philosophical in this bitch.
There you go. It's getting emotional, getting strong. Just let it out, Spider. Let it out.
patriarchal structure in society that says that men can't show emotion. If you show emotion,
Y'all
you're
heard
weak.
that, right? Y'all heard them big words, some big words, some patriarchal structure. You merge it together, it's patriarchal and structure on there.
But it's basically there's a stereotype that if a man shows emotion, a man cries, a man makes himself appear vulnerable, then he's weak. And if a man is,
where'd that come from?
It came from fucking way back in the
patriarchy.
Day. Came from the patriarchy, men being in power. But if a man appears to be weak, then he's seen as less than. And you have Donnie, who I think at that point was, I don't know how many times he was a champion, 6-time champion or something like that. But a person of that caliber doesn't want to seem weak. You know, I'm a former heavyweight champion of the world. I'm not gonna let anybody treat me like a bitch.
Pump me,
right?
Yeah.
So
I'm about to just come around here throwing dirt on my name.
So that, for lack of a better term, toxic masculinity of always needing to be able to control the situation that you're in. I can figure it out. I can handle it. I don't need anybody. I don't need to talk about my problems. I'm just forget about it.
3 words.
Leave it in the past.
I got this.
I got this. Don't worry about it. I got this. I got this. But we see that what happens when you allow your support system to be your support system. We got to see what happens when he allowed himself to be vulnerable and let Bianca in and let her know exactly what was going on in his mind, because it makes so much sense now, because from Bianca's perspective, it was hard to understand, why are you so okay with our daughter fighting, right? Because there are other ways to resolve conflict. And had he talked to her way beforehand, let her know what was going on in his past, and I can understand why he didn't want to bring it up again, because you have traumatic things that happen to you in your childhood, you don't want to relive that. But it eats you from the inside, especially when your past resurfaces, and then it forces
right in
you
your face. Now you cannot run from this. You cannot hide from this.
And it
you trying to pick up where
that.
you left off, but it's not the same.
Right.
There's underlying tension, underlying resentment, underlying jealousy, underlying. Look at this movement that I done mastered. Right, I mastered this because I did it. And you got to deal with it, like Swider said.
Right. So being able to, I wasn't aware that they were going to go into that area, because remember one of the things that we were talking about.
You thought it was just going to be a straight boxing movie.
I knew that there was going to be some kind of emotion, but I just didn't know where it was going to come from. Because in the first movie, in Creed 1, we got, Rocky being sick, having cancer. In Creed 2, we got, Bianca being pregnant, and the possibility of the daughter being, hearing impaired. So those were the emotional beats that we got in the previous movies. But I didn't know, I had no idea where they're going to go with the third one, which was always enjoyable, because you don't want to go into a movie being able to predict exactly what's going to happen, because that takes the fun out of the movie.
See that right there? That was a fact right there. They didn't even know that. I had to single it out. That was a fact right there. Y'all getting facts on this show. This is why y'all love this show, because y'all get facts. But facts on facts on facts that you need more toning in your goddamn fax machine.
If you got a fax machine in 2023, I respect you.
I respect the fact that you love facts.
I don't know who you faxing, but I respect you from holding.
We giving facts.
We giving facts.
You can unplug your fax machine and still get these facts on all things super. That's what I'm talking about, baby. But dropping them facts on
probably y'all. The only thing that my only complaint about the movie would be that we got the scene where they went to Amara's school after she got into the fight, and Donnie was like, "Well, why is she the only one getting in trouble?" Because that was so real. First of all, the bully kid just walks up to her and just rips up picture in front of her. Like,
what you gonna do? And she jumped the snot out of him.
But it's like, okay, so the teacher caught the punch being thrown, but what was the teacher when this child just walked up to Amara and just ripped up picture in half?
Hey. You didn't hear all that. Look, okay, don't do that.
Look, I'm just saying.
You couldn't hear that paper torn up like
wrong.
that.
That's you're so wrong for that.
I think they put SMR on that. They made it loud when that happened. I'm like, what's going on? sound echoing.
That was
He couldn't hear that.
that was that thick art paper. That wasn't like just a regular sheet of
Oh
paper.
my
That
god,
was
that
like
was
a thick. That was
horrible.
like a thick 8-ply sheet of paper. But
And he
I'm
was like, "What was that?"
stop it. But no, well, not necessarily that the other girl didn't get in trouble. The thing that I wish would have happened was that because Donnie was like, well, why didn't the other girl get in trouble? And he and Bianca, had the argument. Well, why are you so okay with her fighting? And Donnie was like, well, she has to be able to protect herself. And to Bianca's
This is
credit,
true.
she was saying that there are other ways to defend yourself. There are other ways to stand up for
This is
yourself. There are other
also true.
ways to resolve conflict than just by throwing hands. And after we got the resolution of Donnie being able to confront his past, being able to share that with Bianca, I was hoping that even though we got the final scene in the ring with Amara in the ring and she's, throwing punches at her dad because they're bonding over this love for, the sport, that if Donnie would have just took a second, like when they were in the gym and he caught Amara watching his old videos and he was like, showing her how to punch the bag, like showing how to like pivot her hips and follow through with the punch and all of that kind of stuff. So he's teaching her to fight. But I was just hoping that we would get at least some kind of comment, some kind of nod. It's like, because he was telling her that, it's not all about strength, it's about focus and about
Right.
concentration and about control.
Right.
So I
This is
was
also true.
hoping that we were going to get a little bit more into that to where he was actually going to like support Bianca's stance on it. It's like, listen, everything doesn't have to be a fight. You like sometimes you can get out of a situation or you can de-escalate a situation without having to throw a punch. And I was hoping that, because we see that, of course, not to say that that's the only thing that she got from Bianca, but she's part Bianca. She has the hearing impairment, and she's kind just like Bianca is. She's a very sweet kid, but then she also has Donnie's like, I guess, like hot
She want
headedness,
to fight.
right? And
Of
so
course.
she's a definite product of both of her parents. But I was hoping that we would get her to stay that way. Like you can fight like Donnie, but you can also be smart, like your mother too. Because even Donnie said, because um, what was that? I think that was in Creed 2, where Bianca said she's a fighter just like her father, and Donnie was like just like her mother too. So, I just wanted to be able to get a little bit more into that just to make it seem like, because I feel like that's a good message, especially if you're bringing kids to the movies, to know that even though you have the ability to fight, that everything doesn't have to be a fight. Everything doesn't have to get violent. Everything
This
doesn't
is
have to get
so
physical.
true.
So I feel
So
like
true.
I feel like that's really the only spot where they kind of like dropped the ball in the movie.
Well, we're talking about Creed 3. We're talking about Michael B. Jordan's debut as a director. Overall, how do you feel like he did as a director?
I thought it was incredible. I thought it was amazing. I thought because one of the things that we were talking about in the previous movie was like, okay, we've seen 6 Rocky movies, we've seen 2 Creed movies at this point. How do we make things different? Right? How do
Right.
we bring in something that we've never seen before? And I feel like with that last fight scene between Donnie and Damon, I felt like that was different. That was incredibly different, and it was so impactful because all of these other fights, it was about the championship, right? It was about the championship.
Mm-hmm.
It was about the
Mm-hmm.
name. It was about the conflict, but it was also about the spectacle,
It's about countries.
right?
In Rocky Four, it was about Russia versus America.
Right. And so we have all of this spectacle with the crowd and all of the everything being involved, but this fight between Creed and Damien was personal.
Personal.
This was personal, and the fact that in the
They
final
stripped all that
they
away.
took away the crowd, they took away the lights, they took away all the outside influence, and it was just the two of them in the ring just going at it. And we see like the regret of Donnie ran away, so Damien got locked up, and we see like how bad he feels about because he felt like he abandoned his friend. He was like that was his brother. And oh my god, another power scene when Marianne passed away. And one of the last things that Donnie said to her before she had her second stroke was that Damien was there for me. That was my brother. He treated me better than any of your kids ever did. Because you think about it, even I don't remember like back in the other Rocky movies if we saw any other Creed's other kids, but in the Creed movies, we never see her kids in the house. Like anytime Donnie comes over, it's just him and Marianne. So I don't
Yeah, you
know.
gotta pay more for extras. You can't and then they gonna have speaking lines. That's out of the budget. We talking about the executive producer. We need more executive producers who gonna be doing all that.
But basically, we don't see any of Marianne's other kids. I think she had two other kids. But basically, Donnie was saying like, you know, they didn't treat me because you would imagine that they resent him because
Of course, it's a child outside of the marriage.
right, exactly. And where Marianne took him in, treated him like her own son, his half siblings, you know, probably picked on him, made fun of
They
him.
ain't share their toys. No,
Of
they ain't
course
share their
not.
toys. They wouldn't let Donnie play in any of the reindeer games. I just don't know why we do these type of things. You gotta show love out here in
Right.
these streets
Like,
in
oh,
California.
you ain't got a toy car? Ask your mama to go buy you a toy car. I was like, that's fucked up.
Damn, you know my mama died, dude. Catch these knuckles. Catch these hands. Catch these goddamn hands. Listen, Creed 3, let me say some things about Creed 3. I went in it with a very open mind, very, very open mind. I had no expectations, zero expectations, 100% going into this movie. And I wanted to see Michael B. Jordan do his thing. And we picked up fighting
Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky. Because the man wanted his wait. He wanted why were we fighting him again? We were fighting him again because
I think Ricky wanted the belt. Because Donnie was the champion. I think Ricky wanted the belt. And last time Donnie lost.
Yeah, so we're settling things, right?
Right.
I mean, it was part 3. They had the first fight. He lost his car, his Mustang. Was it a Mustang?
Mm-hmm.
And then
he got that back in 2.
He ended up getting that back in 2, which, you know, we found out that his father left him that, which that was a nice touch. We didn't know that. Nice little piece of revelation. And then in the third one, we're fighting him again because movie reasons.
I mean, it's not anything relevant. Yeah, it's not anything relevant to the plot.
It was a nice throwback. It's nice to see him again, but you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. It looked like that fight wasn't, you know, because like they said in the movie, you know, you fought him and he was past his prime, so you were supposed to win that fight. Which is a lot of commentation that people do as far as article writers and blog writers and just spectators.
It was the whole thing with in Rocky Balboa, you know, the whole Rocky versus the Mason the Lion Dixon, you know, and it was like the only reason that Rocky fought this dude who was like 20 years younger than him at that point, if not more than that, and it was like, oh, because of this computer simulation saying that if Rocky was in his prime against Mason in his prime, Rocky would win. And so Mason felt some kind of way. It was like, fuck that old dude. He can fight you right now. And then Rocky went toe to toe with him.
Feel some type of way, you should just go lay down. That's a takeaway message from that. Anytime you feel some type of way, just go ahead and lay down. So we get Donnie coming in, and you know, he's retiring. Now, strategically, movie structure-wise, you think it was a great idea the way they salt and pepper that kind of sprinkled in from flashback to common day to flashback to modern day, because you were like, what happened? Mm-hmm. You see young Donnie, you see him following Damon. They were really close, and I can understand the closeness of it. You know, some may say he was co-riding or other terms that are closely related to that, but If they were friends, they were friends, man. And that's sometimes what a real friendship is. I'm looking out for my bro. He's giving him tips on how to fight.
Right.
You know, he's listening to his friend, and he got his back. They're really friends. He breaks him off with some bread. He snuck out the house. You know, they're hanging out together. He's a little older, so he got a car. You know, and then you got to understand the situation that happened too. Though Damon may have had some stripes and strikes because he was in them streets. He came to Adonis's aid,
right,
when Adonis decided that he was going to take matters into his own hands, and rightfully so. We've seen this with Star-Lord and in game. You know, your emotions, Infinity War, excuse me. Your emotions get the best of you. I don't think he really kind of wanted the situation to go down that way. But again, that was sprinkled in. So he was like, why did he attack this guy?
Right.
Who was just on some scratches?
Right.
Like, damn. And it was seemed very uncharacteristic for the character himself because he was
just like, oh, you don't remember me.
Type of...
And the dude was like, no, I don't know who you are. And he just hauled off on him.
As an audience, I was like, what the hell going on?
Beating up this grown ass man.
Grown man with scrap. I thought, is he homeless? Is that what it is? You know, so good call, bad call. I mean, as an audience member at that moment, were you like perplexed? Were you like,
no, I was.
Did you just trust the
confused.
process to reveal itself?
No, I was definitely confused as to why he was attacking the man, and I was assuming that because it was like, you know, because I think Donnie said something to him about, oh, you want to pick on somebody that's weaker than you. And so in my mind, and this is from, you know, years of watching Law and Order,
telling me
watching Law and Order SVU, I thought it was going to be something like, you know, a sexual assault type thing, and that's why, you know, he was so upset about it.
Watching that show,
I know,
it's messing up your.
The trope is the common trope is that's why, you know, they don't want to talk about it when they become adults. They don't want to relive it because it's a truly traumatic experience. Because what else was that was on some show, it was something to deal with football, but
that's horrible.
But yeah, but you have these predatory adults that prey on kids, and I didn't know, you know, if with Donnie, you know, not necessarily being bouncing around foster care and stuff like that.
He was in some
group
temporary
homes.
institutions.
Yeah,
clearly because his mom had passed and his father had passed, he obviously went into the system.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and we know that a lot of kids that do get put into the system, especially as they become older, you know, they're not as marketable, and I'm using air quotes there for my audio listeners, but older kids,
I saw you put your little fingers up.
Older kids have a lot harder time being adopted because, you know, when people are looking to adopt, they want to adopt babies, you know, adopt younger kids so they can raise them. But when you have a teenager or even somebody who's like preteen, like 10, 11, 12, they stand less of a chance of being adopted because couples think that, oh, well, they're, you know, stuck in their ways, you know, I won't be able to
you're not my dad,
right,
Alfred.
You know. I won't be able to, you know, educate them. I won't be able to raise them because they'll be, you know, resentful, or, you know, all of these other kind of things that they think they'll run into problems. So, you know, older kids, they have a worse time in the foster system. So I was thinking along those lines of, oh, you know, it was just something more traumatizing. Not to say that, you know, violence and being abused, physical abuse, is not traumatizing, but again, that's why when he was like, you know, especially when they were at the record release party and Bianca was talking to Damien, and Damien was like, oh, well, it might have something to do with Leon and all this other kind of stuff. And she was like, well, Leon, who's Leon? And Damien was like, oh, well, that's not my place to talk about. That'd be something that Donnie has to tell you himself. So again, that got me thinking like, okay, well, this is something like really traumatic that he doesn't want to share with her.
Like Leon was a perv.
Yeah. So I didn't mind it because I knew that I'm like, okay, we're going to get an answer to this at some point.
Be revealed at some point.
At some point,
but
we're
there
going to
was
get
a
an
level of confusion.
Yeah, there was. And then like, what I wish would have happened, like you said, the the flashback to current time, the flashback to current time, the flashback to current time. I kind of wish that they would have showed us all of that in the beginning. Show us, them rolling out, them rolling up to the convenience store. He's seeing Leon, they get into a fight, he getting jumped, and then Dame come up with the gun,
with the
and
glizzy.
and then the cops come up and we see Donnie run away, and then we see Dame get caught. So if you would have showed us all of that in the beginning instead of having to sprinkle through, like we have to piece together exactly what happened as to, I think if we would have saw that in the beginning, it would have made it more impactful to know that, Donnie didn't write him back, or how Dame felt because Donnie didn't write him back. And
Right.
and so we get the whole thing about, when I think they were talking in the restaurant, and Dane was like, yeah, I used to write you and all this other kind of stuff. And Donnie was like, did you? I didn't get
Yeah,
it. I didn't
he
get
didn't
anything.
get none of those. And he didn't know whether Donnie was lying or not at that
Right.
current point in time, because it just seemed,
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it was a director's choice, taking nothing away from the movie. I won't say whether it was bad or good, but I did, as an audience member, sat there and I was like, I strategically, it could have been the smartest thing, because I was sitting there, I was like, I need more of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was never disinvested in either one of the stories, but it was kind of frustrating because I wanted to know what happened, and I felt like we're getting pieces instead of just getting an explanation of what happened.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Right.
that.
So Donnie is grown up. He's a champion now. He's at the gym now. He's getting big bucks now.
Like
Adonis he's
Creed
managing
Athletics.
fighters now, right? He got the gear, got all kind of swag. He got all kind of Bianca's done leveled up. She's a producer now.
Old records all over the place.
Bling bling, motherfucker. So now they got a daughter, and the daughter has the ability to sign. This isn't, I didn't sign anything. I was just showing you. For those who watching the videos, like, what is he saying? I don't know what that is. That's one love. One love.
The only thing I remember is
bullshit. Yeah, that. Facts. Creed, you're learning stuff, man. Creed with the education. So, the fact that Damian comes back, doesn't want a handout. He wants a championship belt. We seen this. We reacted to the trailer. We watched Creed 1, we watched Creed 2. As a rewatch, Damian comes in, wants that opportunity. Here's some things that I'm going to say. Michael B. Jordan did that because the way that the events transpired, I don't think it could have happened any other way. You don't get somebody coming out the gate talking about they want a title shot.
Right.
There's millions of dollars that go behind these fights. I'm talking about millions of dollars. You got HBO signing up just to do their show is a couple $100,000 to go behind the scenes and interview the boxers and stuff like that. Video recording while they're training. You selling out arenas. So calling the fight off is something that they're not really open to do.
Right.
Because people already purchased their tickets, you got to issue our refunds. They're not really trying to do that. So it's not unlike that situation. Hey, this person was assaulted at a party, broke his hand, and we get to see Drago's son again. I forget his son's name.
Victor,
yeah, there you go.
I love the fact that they're friends now.
They're friends now. Which you and I talked about this. They was talking about a spinoff show, right?
Yeah, they're talking about having a Drago film. I don't know if it's going to be like a whole franchise, but there'll be a Drago film.
I could definitely see a spinoff film, and I would not be surprised if a Damian Drago fight was to happen, because I don't think at the end of this that Damian's done fighting. No. He is older. He is older. But at the same time, he has enough name behind him as coming in with his first fight and winning a championship on your first fight. That's marketable.
Even though it was through some questionable means.
A lot of fighters fight questionable means. There's some fighters that fight dirty.
No, I absolutely agree.
And it is not illegal to punch in the shoulder.
but the fact that he knew,
I think he
because
deliberately did it.
he deliberately. But see, and that's the thing. It's like you can only plan for so much, right? So when he
Right.
was sparring with Felix in the gym, and he grabbed his arm and he like hit him like right up under there. And the
Uh-huh.
first time he did it, there was no way that he could have known that Bianca was going to invite him to the release party, that Drago was
Nope,
going to
didn't
be
know.
there, and
No clue.
that not only was Drago going to be there, but if he would that he would have had the opportunity to hire his boy to go and break Drago's hand.
Well,
So
he knew Drago was the next fight. So he knew
no, I
that.
knew that, but what I'm saying is that he wouldn't have known that he would have gotten that opportunity to be able to do that.
No,
So
no, but here's
maybe,
what I was thinking.
mhm,
If he would have assaulted Drago and knew Drago was out, and Donnie didn't put him on, then he would have had a real beef with Donnie. We
Right.
might have been seeing a whole different movie.
yeah, absolutely, 100%. But I'm thinking that even if he didn't get Drago at the release party, would he have gotten him some other time? I think that was it. I think that was I think that was the entire plan the whole way. But I think that it just the timeline got moved up because he got him at the
Yeah.
release party instead of just somewhere out in the streets.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Drago can't fight,
Right.
but he still helps Donnie train.
Well, it was after. It was like after a while.
You could have took the fight.
Well, he couldn't take the fight because the fight was in like 2 days, something like that. Well, it was like coming up. He still he had to have
This
time
was
for
after.
his, he had to have time for his hand to heal.
His hand did heal, and then Damien came and took the belt.
Right.
So yeah, so it made sense. And like I said, I don't think he could have went any other way because out the gate, just as it takes years to be a number one contender.
Mm-hmm.
But because it was Donnie's fight, it was Donnie who was promoting the other cat. Was the other cat's name Felix?
Yeah.
And he was promoting Drago. That's what I didn't say. So it was both of his fighters in a sense. So the fact that he was able to put him in, he had that power. He had that ability. So if anybody was wondering how he was able to do that, because it was his fighters. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Dana White in UFC. You can put whoever he wants to against each other. Now, again, I don't think weight class had anything to do with this fight because I think Drago and Damien probably was in a better weight class than
Donnie.
Yeah, and
even I don't know. I feel
even
like
Damien and Donnie.
I feel like they're
in a different weight class.
They were closer to each other in weight than Donnie and Drago. It's more Donnie and Dane was definitely more believable than Donnie and Drago.
Yeah, that thing Drago was dwarfing Donnie at some point when they showed him.
Even when they were training, they were like in a shed and they were in a ring training. It's like Drago's up here, Donnie's down here. Like that big of a difference. It's like, bro.
No stilts, all leg. So we get to the point now, and again, because we need to tell a story in such a concise time, we're moving through these story beats again. So now Dame's champion. You can say dirty boxing all you want to. He the champ now. And he's telling Donnie, I don't need you now, bro. I used you. And Donnie found out he was used.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, when I got out of jail, I needed you. He was like, but I don't need you no more. He's like, everything I got him out. And he's like, I'm good.
I'm good now. I got endorsements coming in. You see these hoes. I got hoes. I don't even know half these people at this party. This dude holding my belts. I don't even know his name.
The thing about it is, it's like, okay, I understand. Like you just got out of jail, right? And you got like a little 1-bedroom studio apartment or whatever.
They did not shy away from that. He was staying in a crack house,
and so like. The immediacy of him winning the belt because he beat Felix. They put Felix in an ambulance. They let him go. Donnie was either still at the arena or was on his way home or something. And Marianne was like texting him like, I need to talk to you. And so
Right.
he went over to the house. This is all in the same night. He went over to the
Same
house,
night.
find out that the dude that attacked Drago was cellmates locked up with Dame. And so still, same night, he go rolling out to the cliff where Dame's having his party. Like, he got a whole new wardrobe. He got a chain now. He got ice.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold up. Did he get, like, paid, like, right after the fight was over?
Jacob the jeweler on speed dial. Yeah, them stacks I told you, run that watch. Like, I got you,
You
bro.
got your whole
It's
entourage,
delivery.
and like who organized the party? I just like the I just
Well,
said
it was at the beach, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like it was at a grand casino.
But I mean, you still had to get people to come out there. I guess social media.
Oh yeah, they gonna follow the champ.
Yeah, social media. You just tweet it out, put it on Instagram, like, oh, yo, we out here. Check for the fire pit at mile marker 57.
The champ is here. The champ, I'm going to hang with the champ. I don't know what y'all doing.
Like,
the champ at the beach.
DJ lights everything. Just like fight was over at 10:30. They out there by 10:45. We on the beach. We out
45,
here.
lighting it up. Grill going. DJ out, just plugged in. And Donnie came up and like, dude, you used me. You played me. Like why? And Damon is not apologizing. He said it clear. I told you what I was here for. I told you this is what I wanted, and nothing was going to stand in my way to make this happen. And you got to think about it. How many years? 18 years? 15 years?
18 years in jail.
This is all that it was on his mind. Because again, this is all that he wanted. You literally looking at Adonis fighting Africa when this is something that you wanted for your own life. So At the same time, this is doing nothing but building up. Oh, when he comes to the house, y'all got the see-through floors and everything. Y'all got the see-through floors. Oh, you drinking that Hennessy? No, not the regular Hennessy. The RSVP. Okay.
Like I said, you live.
I'm coming from mine.
Then not only say that, I'm coming from everything you got.
Everything.
He talking about the gym. He talking about the athletics company. He talking about everything. And
I think he was talking about Bianca
I was
too.
just about to say that. I don't know. You might have been talking about Bianca too. Because when they were at their album release party, he was like, kind of like, hey, look.
Leaning real close, real hard. It's like, hey, I know you feeling some kind of way.
You got somebody else singing your songs.
I'm about to sing that goddamn Ty Dolla $ign, the American Dream. Girl, I could love better than me. I can't sing. That's not the point that I'm saying, though. The point that I'm saying is you got to watch these dudes. Just fresh out of jail, trying to give her that thug dizzle. You seen that chick on the couch, right? She wasn't laying there because she was comfortable. Her legs was broke. Donnie put that thing on. That's that prison love. She was trying to recruit. She couldn't. Donnie was in the back doing pull-ups on the steps. She was trying. Her legs didn't even work right then. So I think clearly Donnie baited him in because at that point, Damian did pop him right there. You popped the champ or the former champ and embarrassed him.
Yeah.
Easy. I know everybody's saying, why he ain't get up and swing? Clearly, Damian had that glizzy. Right. You saw that. And you just don't want those situations to go that way. So some restraint
I don't think Damian would have pulled it out on him, though.
Well, he took it from somebody who could have possibly pulled it out on him. And took control of the situation. Right. But at the same time, you don't have to get shot to get hurt by a gun. You can get pistol whipped. Yeah. And
and this is credit to Jonathan Majors, because we've been talking a lot about the movie, but we haven't given Jonathan Majors enough credit for the performance that he's given in this movie. He
kills it every time.
A violent man, but he's not out of control. Which is so
calculated,
dangerous to have somebody who is that calculated and that capable of doing so much damage. Because we saw when he got into the ring with Felix, that first fight that he had, and he saw that he came out and everybody was booing him. That was like fuel for him. He was like, okay,
oh yeah,
all right. And so he gets into the ring,
old Kanye,
and he's thinking that I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna show what I'm gonna do. I tagged him once in the gym. I'm gonna tag him again. I'm gonna get him done. So he go in there and Felix start getting them licks in. Then he has to kind of take a step back and like, all right, I got to reevaluate my game plan because it's not going to be no walk in the park. And so that's when he comes out. He starts using his little dirty tactics and everything. But at the end of the day, he got the win. So you have this man who is powerful, who is just throwing punches and like hurting people. And we saw that when he was in the gym preparing for his fight, it was the same problem with Felix. Felix was knocking out all his sparring partners. Everybody that was getting into the ring with Dame, it's like 2 punches, pop, pop, out, pop, out. It's like, dude, how are you going to practice if everybody that you get in the ring with, you tagging them, you knocking them out? But so
Michael B. Jordan said it so eloquently, quaint in the beginning. It's not just about power,
right?
It's about timing. It's about strategy and planning. It's about focus. It's about concentration. And I love how they call that back because Damian has an unorthodox boxing block. It's almost Dragon Ball Z like. And I'm glad
you said that because we all know, if anybody knows anything about Michael B. Jordan, he is a huge fan of anime, and you could see that there were.
What you say about Michael B. Jordan? You owe you money. What?
No, I'm just saying.
Here first on all things Super Bowl. We're gonna put it on blast.
If Michael B. Jordan owed me money, I would not tell that to anybody at all. That would be between me and him. But no, I think he's a huge fan of anime.
You look clearly and learn 50 Cent strategy.
Listen, I'm not putting that man on blast. Look, but no, he's a huge fan of anime. It was well documented that his body armor that he had on in Black Panther was got it from Vegeta. That was Dragon Ball Z inspired. And so you look at different areas, different ways that his focus when he was fighting Pretty Ricky, right? It shows his growth as a boxer. He's not just going in and just swinging these days. He's calculated. He's watching. He's observing. He's monitoring his opponent's movements. And so we saw that emphasized by like a little slow motion, like the little wobbles. He's focusing. We get a close up of his eyes, and that's his love for anime coming out into his directing style. And so we get to see that. And so we get that, like, it's the focus shot, right? So he sees that open, and like Donnie you said, vision. Right? Donnie vision. That's pretty much what it was. Donnie vision.
Creed vision.
But so we saw that when you said like he has that unorthodox block, and so when he's getting ready to break that block, of course you have to separate your hands, and so we see that at the end. We saw that got into Donnie vision. He saw that opening, but not only did we get that, we saw the punch to the gut. With the sweat popping off the back.
It's like anime inspired 100%, and he killed it with that scene. Eric, look, we've said this before as a director, and I remember saying this about this movie. Looking for your signature style, is key to be any director that's memorable, and any director that does this takes that style with them throughout their movies. It's in their DNA. It's kind of like how Quentin Tarantino is obsessed with feet. And you could look at all his films, there's a lady foot shot somewhere in there. Always. Just like, it's true. It's not me, it's true. So just like, that's another one. We're not going to get into all of those, but you have to find your signature thing that makes you. Ryan Coogler is one of the masters of the long shot, or the long take, or the long shot, but it's not a long continuation shot. It's just cut in certain areas, but he's mastered that. Right. And now
J. Abrams and his lens flares, and Michael Bay and his explosions.
And the fact that if Michael B. Jordan is writing his name on that, I can't think of a better piece of cinema to write your name on, because it was done perfectly. It wasn't emphasis on Donnie. It was emphasis on Donnie's punch, but you seen Creed's face and the slow-mo and the sweat just explode off his body like, oh my God, I was thinking that his fist was about to come through his back.
It really looked like it was about to.
I was like, damn, all your kidney broke.
But no, that final fight between Donnie and Damian, Probably, probably one of the best fights out of the entire Creed trilogy. I just think it was so innovative, so different.
It was personal. It was so
it was
personal.
absolutely personal. In the way that, like we said, the crowd dropped out, the lights dropped out. It was just the two of them in the ring. But the fact that they dropped the music out too, and it was just them.
Yeah.
It was just them in the ring. And one of my favorite lines of the movie was when Lil Duke said, "I see you out there boxing, but I need you to start fighting." And it's like, this was everything. It was basically the antithesis of everything that he learned. Like he always learned to, make sure you watch this, watch that, make sure you're doing this, you're moving this way, got to be, playing out your moves, all this other kind of stuff. Little dude was like, forget all that. Because like, this dude is coming out here, he's coming out here to hurt you. Like, if you want to win this, you can't just box. You have to fight.
I've always said that in fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're fighting structurally or technically, or you're fighting formatly, not a word, but I made it one. That only works with someone who's doing the exact same thing. Martial arts work with someone who's doing martial arts. If you are fighting martial arts versus a street fight, they're not technically, okay, put it like this. Take fencing.
Right.
Fencing. And take somebody that's a slasher or a brute force blade
like a Viking
wielder.
Like with a broadsword.
Like a Viking with a broadsword or even an axe. Somebody is not going to those differences in styles don't mesh well. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be, it's not, fencing could go on, but then you get somebody with an axe, they go knock that out your hand, chop you on your wrist, and you go for the neck or something. And it's just, if you want to have an interesting fight, then you contrast that and show how they will parry each other. But that's something to see. When you get somebody that's not going against your boxing, like you're saying, he's here to fight. He go fight dirty.
Right.
Because again, now I have everything and you're trying to take it away from me.
Right.
That's more dangerous than a guy that had nothing.
Nothing to lose, right.
Yeah, because he's going to try to preserve what he got. Nah, I just tasted this.
Yeah.
I was able to do a party in this fast, and then you're going to take that away from me?
Right. It's like,
nah, dude.
The difference between taking a starving dog who is fighting for what could potentially be his only meal. So he's going to fight tooth and nail to make sure he gets that. But then once you have that starving dog who knew what it was to be starving, who now has food, you can't take that away from him.
You think I'm going back to the... Oh my God. Oh my God. You about to die in this ring. I love the fact that they made sure that we did see that Felix was all right though.
Yeah.
Because
Felix showed up at the last fight. I thought homie was dead. I thought homie was straight up dead.
Thought he was out. Thought he was out for forever. Forever asleep. So I know we're going to keep this one on topic as well as entertaining like we always do. But Sprat, I got to ask the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Creed 3, Michael B. Jordan's first directorial debut. Is it a super movie, or does he have a little bit more ways to go? Because I hear what the internet is saying, and I'll reserve my comments to the questions asked with me. I'm asking you, what would you thought? You thought it was super, or you thought it was,
No,
not?
The movie was absolutely 100% super. Everything that I've read from the rest of the cast as to Michael B. Jordan and his directorial style, it's always, I won't say always, but it's refreshing when you have an actor who goes into the directing realm because they've been there. And produced. Right? But they've been there. He's produced other stuff before. But
did he?
Yeah. But it's refreshing because they know how they would want to be directed. Right. If you have an actor who's been dealing with shitty directors, who's too demanding, who's making unreasonable requests, unreasonable,
Yeah.
notes and
I
all this
need
other
you to
kind of
say
stuff.
it with your chest.
Right. It's like, well, what does that mean? It's like I
Like,
need you to say it with your chest. It's like, but how do I say it?
how do I do that?
Do I stick
How
my
do
chest
I
out?
just
Do I like
you want it
I put my
out? You want
chest
it in?
Right.
Tilt it? What does that mean?
But so, especially reading the notes from Tessa Thompson about how, because they have this working relationship, they've been in, 2 Creed movies at this point. So she said,
Right.
the interviewer asked, were there any notes that you felt that he gave you that weren't unreasonable? And she's like, well, he didn't direct me like that. Everything that we talked about was a conversation, and then being able to have that relationship with your director brings out the best performance out of everybody, because it's not, this is what I'm telling you to do. It's, how do you feel about this? Like, what do you think about this? And, tell me what your thoughts on like this direction. And you have, Tessa Thompson, who's played Bianca for 2 movies, and how connected she is with the character. So she knows what Bianca would do, what Bianca wouldn't do. One of the things I read in the article was that the use of the word John, that she, talked about in the first movie, like, oh, a John is a noun, this is a John, that's a John. She's like, they've been in LA for I don't know how many years. And so she felt like that Bianca wouldn't say John anymore, because she's removed herself from that Philly lifestyle. She's living an LA lifestyle now. And so she said that she made sure that for her character, there was nowhere in the script that she would say the word John. And it's just, that's how you get a well-made movie.
Character growth.
Right. That you get character growth. You get better dialogue between the characters, because you know where they came from and to where they are now. And it's just, you can see that shining through with all of the characters. Even though Drago maybe had 1 or 2 lines the entire film, when you saw him come back and you saw him and Donnie like dap up, like, oh shit, they're boys now. And then you saw him come back again in a training montage at the end. And then the thing about it is, he's fighting Donnie. Donnie's in this headspace where he's like, shit, I don't know if I could beat Damien. Like, I got all this guilt, everything that's weighing me on my chest.
Yeah,
and Drago
he feel like he had imposter syndrome.
Right. And so
like
Drago,
he wasn't supposed to have that life.
And Drago basically is like, he's hitting them while they're training. And like, Donnie's not really defending himself. He's going down. And Drago is like, what do y'all want me to do? It's like,
I'm not here to hurt him.
Right, I'm not here to hurt him. I'm here to train him. And then Donnie gets up because he's mad now because Drago had turned his back on him. And so he starts hitting him, Drago, again. And Drago is like, all right, if this was what you want, I'm going to really give it to you. And he like leans into him. And it's like, to have that non-verbal action, right? And you can see that just from his body language. It's like, I don't know what y'all want me to do. It's like, I don't know if he's ready, but he come back and he's still fighting. And then you can see at the end of the day, they still hug it out and everything. And it's like, okay, that's a relationship that you can't tell that better without having dialogue associated with it. Right.
Yeah.
And that's a true credit to Michael B. Jordan's direction. Like, you direct a scene like that to where you can have 2 characters who are not communicating with each other verbally. You only see the action, the punches, the reaction, the facial reaction. I always talk about this when we get into these movies. I talk about the facial reactions. The face can tell a million different stories that dialogue, spoken word can't even begin to describe. And I think that he was on it. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. And his other associate directors and other producers that may have had their little notes. I know Ryan Coogler had a lot to, let him know about this. And I'm pretty sure he got some notes from Sylvester Stallone too.
Of course.
Absolutely wonderful. 100%. Definitely super. Definitely super.
Now if he just pay you that money he owe you, that y'all could really be friends. Nah, that's what I'm talking about.
But Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, when it comes to the 3rd installment of the Creed franchise, Creed 3, is it super?
All my life I had to fight. Yes, the movie is super. We're watching Michael B. Remember the B, okay?
Yes.
Be that as it may, but it should change it to Michael A. Jordan, because he done killed this goddamn movie on his directorial debut. He came out swinging. Unintended. He came out swinging for the fences, and for the jugular and for the skull and the body shots and swing wherever you want to swing. I think he knocked it out the park. I've heard some people say that, they didn't particularly care for the last fight. But again, I had to break it down. So you got to understand something. Movies are art. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a spectacle, but it's art. It's from the transition this is from the interpretation of the director or the writer and how much they can capture that on the screen. We're not looking at just another boxing match. We got boxing in it. We got a training montage in it. Training montage, I'm going to give you this question right now. You can answer as soon as I finish doing my little spiel. Mm-hmm. How does the training montage match up against all the other training montages? Think about that. Okay. So we got the training montage and we got the thing, but when it came down to the fight, you got to think about it. These were so close brothers, and then one really felt abandoned. Like I could have stayed in the car. I could have watched you guys whooped on and asked you where my snacks was when you came back to the car. He didn't do that. He got out the car. He pulled out the glizzy because y'all not about to throw hands on my boy. Cops roll up. I got the Glock in my hand or the Ruger or whatever I'm using, just names meaning gun. And the police see me, I'm automatically the person of interest because I have the weapon out.
Right.
So I got to put the weapon down. And as I'm doing that, I came to defend you. You take off and you run. Okay. Think about this. I'm getting booked now. I'm in the cell. I'm doing my fingerprints. Third strike. I go to court. I'm trying to reach out, making sure you are right or what happened. No call. No response. Can't get through. Your mom's got me on block. I'm like, all right. I get time. I'll go to jail. I'm going to send you letters. Hey, man, what's up? Over and over and over again. It didn't say how many, but you could see there was more than probably 10. You don't even respond to me. So I'm feeling like you done turned your back on me. You done forgot all about me. I despise you at this point in time because my life could have been different. And I'm watching you glow up and blow up. And it's like, okay. Real cathartic at the end, this is the part that I respected. After all the lights are off, the glitz and glamour, the cameras are gone. Mano y mano, I come to you and we talk it out.
Right.
And you say, I'm sorry. I should have checked in on you because you couldn't even blame the illustrious Alicia Rashad. You can't blame her because you knew he was in there. Mm-hmm. He already openly admitted. I tried to forget.
Right.
I tried to forget like it didn't even happen. I didn't reach out. He knew where he was.
Yeah.
He didn't. Because he owned up to it.
Right. Because he could have still wrote a letter, even if he didn't get any of Dame's letters, he could have still wrote a letter to him.
He could have wrote it. He could have looked out, and even as you grew in status and capability, you now have resources, you could have, exactly. So it has nothing to do with her. So people that want to blame her, you kept this from me. Nah, my guy. Nah. Like, you could have reached out.
If you wanted to, you would have put forth that effort.
Right. So that's why he apologized later on, because as a man, you got to take ownership to the parts that you played. Right. And you can't just throw that on her. Now, did she keep him from you? Yes. And the fact that she said your life, well, my life would have been different. You're 100% right. It would have been.
Right.
And you got to say that you don't want nothing that you have now, in opposed to what you would have had then, which could have been a life of crime, which could have been, you could have been in jail or shot, or, you know what I'm saying? It could have been so much worse. So are you not appreciative to what you have now? Oh, Michael B. Jordan killed it in this movie, sir. I'm just going ahead and put it out there for you, because those points that touched on was impactful. So when he went after the fight and he apologized, turn around, Damon, and say, it's not on you, bro. Right. It wasn't on you. He already had 2 strikes. He already was making bad decisions. This just so happened to be the one that broke the camel back and put him away for a long time. 18 years, that's a long time. But the fact that he was holding all that resentment towards him, he had to say, yeah, it wasn't on you, bro. And then to turn around and to Donnie and say, it wasn't on you either. We were kids.
Right.
I don't know how old y'all are watching this video. Y'all shouldn't be a kid, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you are a kid, God damn it, what you doing? But as you get older, you look back on the stuff that you did when you were younger, and you chalk it up to just that. Man, I was young. I was doing, I was out.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Hey, man, I was in some girl's closet when their parents came home, man, because I wasn't supposed to be over at her house, but we was doing some things that I ain't going to tell you all about. You shouldn't be a kid watching this, but we enjoyed ourselves. And That's what the youth do, you know. Then I'm not making no excuses for nobody. Nobody should be out there toting pistols in a world of peace. But at the same time, they was able to forgive each other.
Right.
That's what the movie was about. That's why the fight was so impactful, because
And
they showed it.
Mm-hmm.
They showed it. When you looked across that ring, you saw him, but you saw the young him too. When he looked across the ring, he saw him, but he saw the young him too. It was so personal that I gotta get this off. This is the fight. 18 years in the making. Let's go. Because you left me, dude, and you abandoned me. And it was like, dude, you're right. But I'm not about to let you get in here and destroy me like that, because I deserve to be here. This is my life. And that's what Bianca was telling them. Stop making him feel like you didn't put the work in to get here. You got here on your own. It has nothing to do with Damon. So don't let him come and just take that oh my God, and strip it all away. It's sound, audio, crowd, and just two titans going at it.
And I'm glad, just the last thing, because I don't mean to interrupt you, and I want to make sure that I put this note on there, because not only did we get everything great, and I don't know how much direction or how much impact Michael B. Jordan had with like the sound design and everything of the movie, but
you ain't hear when that construction paper got torn up?
But one of the things that got me, that was just like so impactful, that I don't recall happening in any other movies, and definitely not the Creed movies. I don't know about any other Rocky movies. When would set Damien off in his fight with Felix. When Felix got him in that jaw that one good time, he went back to the corner and then went to take his mouthpiece out, and his tooth came out with it, and that feedback whine. Because like that whine when you have that intense pain, and that's how it feels in your head. And then like they did that, and I was in the theater and I felt that. It felt like my tooth got knocked out. I was like, oh shit. And it's just the top to bottom.
So
top to bottom, except like a couple of things in the middle. I would say 95% perfect movie.
Damn.
I loved it. It was
great.
What
was the other 5%?
Well, I told you about the stuff with Amara, and not having that extra note of just being like, not everything has to be a fight. I think that would have made it perfect.
I felt like a lot of this stuff was set up for a spinoff. We see Michael B. Jordan or Adonis Creed or Donnie Creed look in the ring one good last time.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's over? And the reason that I say this, because Rocky had retired in many movies, and they pulled him right out of retirement to get it on again. So are we looking at Creed hanging up the belt for the last time?
I think Adonis Creed is done. Amara Creed may not be, because there is a whole world of women's boxing that has not been put into the spotlight as of yet. As far as I won't say not, because you had $1 Million Baby and with Clint Eastwood and Hilary Swank and all that other kind of stuff, but there's not been a lot of female boxing movies. So maybe sometime in the future we may have
Michael B. Jordan directed.
Probably Michael B. Jordan directed and still Creed, but Adonis is going to take the role of Rocky. He's going to be training his daughter, and then we're going to have the added challenge of training a deaf boxer. Because we saw like in the house, like when the doorbell was ringing, like all the lights and everything were going off, and it's like you got to have those additional things because they can't hear the bell. They can't hear to know that there's 10 seconds left, and all this other kind of stuff.
That is exactly what I was thinking when I was watching this, that I feel like it's a setup for a spinoff. And that is probably why we didn't get that addressing of the patients, the fighting versus not fighting,
non-violent conflict resolution.
Right. I really felt like it was a setup for, and I went into it knowing that it was a setup for Drago having a spinoff, because we talked about it.
Yeah.
But and I felt like that was set up perfectly, because they're friends now. He's so restrained now. He's been injured. There's a possibility that he wants to fight Damien. I just felt like, I can see how.
I do feel like that would be especially if he finds out that if Drago finds out that the dude that broke his hand was associated with Damien, I would imagine that he would want to come after Damien next.
Oh yeah, I can't see how he wouldn't. And that's a fight too. That's a fight. Questionably, who would win that?
That one I don't
Because
know.
yeah, see what I'm saying? And does it fall under the Creed moniker? Does it fall under the Creed name as far as the
No,
title?
I think
Nope, it
that was
falls
under
under
Drago. But I do want to point out that for these trilogies, okay, so Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I did say when we watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, I said that
this is not an Ant-Man and the Wasp video, sir.
I understand, but what I'm saying is that for all things super, we're in the ATS universe right now. For all things super, I said that Scott and Jimmy Woo, they were going to get together. They were going to have dinner. They had a meal. Yeah. They showed an Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. You asked me last week, and you disagreed with me. You said at the fight, Adonis versus Damien, who was going to win? I told you Adonis was going to win. I told you at the end of this film, Donnie was going to walk out. He was going to be champion, and you disagreed with me. Yeah. So I would like to say that I called that as well.
Yeah, I did that for the audience.
Okay. Now it's for the audience. Okay, it's for the audience. I know.
It's a Creed movie. Come on, man. They're not going to turn around and make Creed 4 all about Damien. Come on, man. I knew that. I will say this, though. I didn't think that he was going to hang it up. I didn't think he was going to hang it up.
Yeah, I knew he was going to be done. Because, like I said, that's what I was saying. He's not going to come out of retirement just to lose. But he was retired. He fought Dame for personal reasons. After that, he got nothing left to prove.
Yeah, and they already touched on it now. What's his name? Lil, can't remember his name, but he was telling him, you're old. You're old now. In the world of boxing, you're old. He talked about his hand and how it was broken.
Oh, yeah, talking about all his injuries. He was like, 4 broken metatarsals, 3 broken ribs, ruptured kidneys. Like, how many concussions have you had?
Like, Creed 1 and 2, they're showing him getting laid out a couple of times. So it's like, yeah, you're in the world of boxing, you kind of past your prime and it started to get really, really, really dangerous. The more one thing I didn't like, they said he didn't fight for 3 years and they made it seem like it was 10. You know, it's like they got boxers that take a couple of years off, but
not 3 years. Not 3. No, not if you have an active career and you're still fighting. No, you don't take that much time off.
Oh, they take what? 3 months?
No,
6 months?
Probably like 6 to 8 months between fights.
So 3 years is retired, huh?
3 years is like you're done.
Yeah, let me put that on the mental note. Damn. So back to the question that I asked you before, and before we wrap things up, training montage. How does Creed 3 stack up against all the training montages that we've seen? Just in Creed.
It's
not fair. It's not fair to compare to Rocky.
We're not going to compare it to Rocky. I don't even have enough. I haven't watched Rocky recently enough to be able to compare those montages. But just for Creed, I would say out of the 3 movies, I would rank them number 3, the worst of the montages. I would say it was Creed 2. I'm not saying that it's a bad montage. I'm just saying it would be the worst of the montages out of the 3 of them. At my number 3, I would put Creed 2. At number 2, I put Creed 3. And then Creed 1, the first Creed. That's probably my favorite one. I think it was great. But like I said, we were talking about being able to do stuff original, something different. It wasn't really different, but I felt the emotion. I felt the impact more in... Father called me. I felt the emotion more because we got to wrap up. Not God. But I felt the emotion more in Creed 2. Oh, no, I felt the emotion more in this Creed, in Creed 3 than I did in Creed 2. But I felt it a whole lot more in Creed 1. Just starting out with, in Creed 1, like, he was in a hospital with Rocky. It's like, hey, have you been trained? It's like, nah, I've been here in the hospital with you. And then he's like, all right, well, get down, do some push-ups, go run the stairs. I'm going to make sure I fight, you fight, so you still got to get your training up. You can't just sit around and just worry about me the whole time. So you got to put in the work. And so he's getting that. And then running down the streets of Philly, got the dudes on the bikes and all that other kind of stuff. That was his Rocky running up the stairs moment. That is the one that will always remain to me.
That hood didn't come off, though. That hood had to be pinned down. With the wind resistance?
He had the beanie on. The beanie, it was like safety pin. It was to the top of the beanie. So it didn't come off. But no, it was, so that is, for me, the epitome of a Creed fighting training montage will be Creed 1. This one, because they had his past kind of interstitched in between, I think that kind of like you saw where his mind was and what brought out that emotion. Like you said, talking about the injuries, showing, like every time he got knocked down in the previous movies, having it all accompanied with the training part and seeing how battered and how broken he was and how he's not the same person that he was in Creed 2. He's not the same fighter. He doesn't have that same energy. And so seeing all of that is and tied into, and then having Drago come in. Then the little the pad chick. The chick with the pads. I would watch her on TikTok. She's fucking amazing. I gotta send you some of her videos, but she's like awesome because like she does, that's like her job in real life. And so she does that. And so being able to watch that is just like absolutely incredible. But no, I would say that this one ranks as number 2 for me behind Creed 1.
Okay. I'm gonna rank them 3, 2, 1. Thank y'all for tuning in for the show. I hope y'all really, really enjoyed this great conversation that we had about Creed 3. If y'all haven't seen it and y'all watched us, clearly y'all like us. Thank you. But y'all still should go out and go see Creed 3.
I think it broke records for Thursday night opening.
Well, it's Michael B. Jordan, so.
Well, no, not the Thursday night, the Wednesday night, the early release. I think for that Wednesday night, I think it broke records for that early screening.
I can't see what else. I can't wait to see what else he direct. I really would like for him to get into some action type of genre.
Hopefully we see more.
What's the one that he did? Survivor's Remorse? No, with the one that he did for
Without
Apple.
Remorse.
Without Remorse. Amazon. That's what I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tom Clancy.
Amazon. Yeah, I would like to see him do something like that. Gritty, just hard. Or maybe something slick and polished, kind of like a 007 type of situation. Clearly, Michael B. Jordan can do no wrong at this current point in time, which I'm sure he can, but why would he? I would love to see him develop more stuff and direct more stuff. That's all I'm saying. This is what it is.
But let us know what you thought about Creed 3. Let us know what you thought about the video, what your thoughts on about the fights, the dialogue, the acting, the story progression, the people, because I don't know, I just felt like it was an all-around great movie. But let us know in the comments what you thought about it. And remember, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on any of your major podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to join in on the conversation, my phone is going crazy because we got another call that we got to jump on and it's distracting me. But if you want to join in on the conversation, just tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like to read in the comments, so that's what we're going to do when you leave them.
So leave a comment so we can read them. But we are jumping into the spring season. There are going to be some action-packed movies coming out in the next couple months. We got Shazam coming up. We got John Wick coming up. We got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming up. All of those within the next few months. So be ready. Stay tuned. Be prepared. Remember, click on that bell so you can be notified. But there's going to be more action-packed All Things Super episodes coming out. So we don't want to miss them. But until then, thank you for joining us. We'll see you in the next episode.